Hey everyone, I am Rachel Bateman and this is a video about quitting. Now I have talked recently about how important it is to push through and finish your book, especially if it is your first book, and how motivation wanes and things get hard and we should push through and finish anyway. And there is a lot of advice out there about how to keep going and how to get to the end of your book and how best to finish what we start. But something I feel like is ignored a lot in these discussions, and I have done that as well on this channel, is that sometimes quitting is the right decision. Sometimes a book is not the right book for you to write. You have this idea and it's great and you start going on it and you realize that this is the kind of book I want to read or the kind of movie I like to watch, but I really just don't have any desire to write this. Or you start a book and you get 20,000 words in and realize, I don't have the experience, whether that means the writing chops experience or just the life experience yet, to write this particular book. I have a book like that. I actually haven't even started writing it. I've been outlining it, but I know it's going to be a back burner book for a long time because I don't have the lived experience, nor do I yet have the writing experience to write this kind of book. And that's okay. Sometimes we get way into a project, 50,000, 60,000 words, and it's just not the right book for us. There is a big difference between this is getting hard, this is getting difficult, oh man, I think everything that I've written just sucks, and you should push through to the end, and this legitimately isn't a project that is the best use of my time right now. This is something that would be better written by another author, or something that I just don't really have a true desire to bring into the world, or something that just, this is not it for me. It's okay to quit a book. We don't have to finish every single book we start. There will be false starts. And sometimes you know within 10,000 words, and sometimes you get a lot further before you know. We will all have false starts in our careers where we start a book excited about it and motivated and jazzed and thinking it's going to be great, and then realize that this isn't the book for me. This isn't something that I want to be writing, something that I want to be spending my time on. I want to be clear that it's super, super important when you get to this point in a book to really step back and look at it objectively and think about it and decide if you truly, truly are ready to let go of this book, if quitting on this book is the best thing, or if it's just hard and so you're letting yourself believe that quitting is the right thing. Because it's really easy to convince yourself that this isn't a good book for you to be writing if your book is being difficult. And sometimes what that takes is just time and perspective. A step back to look at it, a step back to dig back in and figure out if this is something you want to keep working at. The way I do that is if I'm feeling like, oh, is this really the book I want to keep working on? Is this where I need to be focusing my time? I step back and I look at the character, my main character and my secondary characters, the world, what town, where it's at, the culture that it's in, and the plot. And I look at each thing individually and see if there's anything there that I super, super love. Am I in love with this main character and her backstory and her arc, but everything else is just like whatever to me? Then that's not the book I need to be writing. I could save that character for something else. Or do I think I have like the greatest plot and it's amazing, but I've populated it with like whatever characters and I'm not really jiving with any of them and it's just not doing it for me? Okay, well I could pull that plot and set it aside and pull pieces of it for other books later. Maybe it's a culture in the world I've built. Now I don't do like sci-fi and fantasy huge world building, but even in contemporary there is a world you build with the culture and the people and how they interact. Maybe I love the town that I've set this in and the people that I've created in this town and populated it with, but my main character is just kind of blah. And therefore her story arc and the plot that she takes us along is just not it. I can use that town for something else. Quitting doesn't mean you just throw out everything you've done on a book. It just means that this book all these pieces together as a whole is not right for you as an author. And that's okay. It is okay to quit a book if it's legitimately the right thing to do. Now, if you're just quitting a book because it got hard and you're like, ugh, the last 4 days of writing, I wrote garbage and it sucks, and so I'm going to quit. You're never going to write anything. You're never going to finish anything, and you're not going to be an author and have a career as a writer if you just quit every time something gets hard. There is a big difference between this got hard and this is not the book for me to be writing. So really, when things are getting difficult or when you're feeling like you don't want to work on a project, step back and look at it and decide, is it really that this is not the project for me at this time, or is it just hard? And if it's just hard, suck it up, buttercup, buckle up, and get back to work. But if it's really not the right project for you, stop, take some time to figure out what is the right project for you to be working on. This video was primarily supposed to be about just quitting an individual project, but I do want to take a second to talk about quitting entirely. This is something we never really talk about in creative fields. You see an actor who is no longer acting, and there's articles for years and years and years. What happened to Jonathan Taylor Thomas? Why he turned his back on Hollywood? The Olsen twins, where are they now, and why don't they want to do movies anymore? It goes on and on and on and on and on. You see this with authors who they had a couple books and they never wrote anything again, and you assume that this means that they had poor sales and their publisher wouldn't pick them up, or they did something that made it so their publisher wouldn't pick them up, or something terrible must have happened, or whatever the case is. But you know what? When someone works as an insurance salesperson for 10 years and then decides they're going to switch careers, we don't be like, whoa, what went down in their life to make them not want to do insurance anymore? What deep, dark secret are they harboring that they want to be a dentist now, or whatever? People switch careers all the time these days. It is not uncommon for someone later in life to switch careers. And it is not uncommon for dreams to change as we grow and mature and have more lived experience. I am not saying, hey, you should just quit being a writer or quit wanting to do it. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I have talked to several writers who are struggling and trying to find their path and trying to get going. And something I've started asking them is, why do you want to be an author? Why do you want this? And I have talked to a few recently that the only answer they could give me is, I wanted to be an author when I was a kid. That's what I've always wanted to do. And when I say, okay, why do you want to be an author right now? And they say, because I wanted to be an author as a kid. That's what I've wanted to do. And then I say, if you could do anything with your life right now, what would it be? And almost none of them say, write a book. So many people that I've talked to are trying to create a career as an author because that's what they wanted to do when they were a kid. When they were 19 years old, they said, I want to write books and I want to be an author. And now they're 42 years old and they want to do it only because that's what they've always said they wanted to do. They don't actually find any joy in writing, and they don't actually have like an actual desire to do it beyond the fact that they've said they wanted to do it for a long time, so they want to do it. We don't shame people when they go to college at 18 years old to study pre-law, and then they decide, I don't really want to work in law. And so they find something else they want to do, and they do that instead. And we don't shame people when they've had an illustrious career as a veterinarian, and then they decide they want to be an author. So they quit their day job because they're writing books. And we cheer people on when they want to quit the job they have now to be an author instead. And we say, yay! But we focus so hard on that if you've wanted to be an author, you are always, always, always going to want to be an author, that we forget that people change and dreams change, and that is okay. It is okay to realize that the only reason you're writing and trying to create books and be an author is because you always said that's what you wanted to do. It's okay to realize that maybe that's not what you want to do anymore. Maybe you want to do something else. And maybe that doesn't mean you'll stop writing entirely. Maybe you'll always be a creative and you'll jot things down, but maybe you step back and you don't focus on trying to become an author or trying to make sure you're writing books and getting it out there and doing the promotion and querying. It's okay. Dreams change. And it is okay if your dream isn't to be an author anymore, even if you've told people that you want to be an author. Even if you've put a lot of time and energy and work into becoming an author. Things change. And if you feel like the only reason you're doing this thing is because you've always done this thing, and you're realizing that maybe that's not what I want for my life, that's okay. It is okay to quit. It's okay to find something else. I'm not telling you to quit, and I'm not saying that if you've been working at this a long time and you don't have a career as an author yet, you haven't sold a book or whatever, you should quit. If this is truly something you want, keep going, keep writing books, keep learning, keep practicing, keep developing, keep growing, and do the thing. But it's okay. It's okay if it's not what you want anymore also. Alright y'all, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And if you are not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and do that now and tap that bell so you are notified of all my future videos. I'm Rachel Bateman and I will see you back here in my next video.